So the Tennessee Titans are a week into the free agency ordeal. We'll call it that. And we've made some additions. There have been some subtractions. There's also been trade. We'll break it all down right here for you on the Titan Bros. Welcome into another Titan Bros episode. I'm your host, Gabriel Pilcher, joined by my brother, Josiah Pilcher. Welcome in. It's going to be a fantastic show.
Yes, it is. A lot to discuss. Always an exciting week of free agency. See what we did and what we didn't do. I feel like I was more annoyed than happy, but there was a couple, I think, okay things that happened, in my humble opinion, but we'll discuss.
Yeah, Wednesday was better than Monday and Tuesday, but
yes, I agree with that.
We got Steven down there in the chat already. It says hashtag Tighten Up, and I have seen this guy's name many, many times. I don't know if it's on A to Z videos or if it's Locked on Titans videos, but I have seen that guy in many chats before. So he is a Tennessee Titan addict, and we love to see it. Tighten up to you, Steven. All right, so let's go ahead and start off. We were getting conflicting reports before free agency even started. Some people were saying, okay, so with the Mike Bergonzi era, this is not going to be big. This is not going to be flashy. So don't get super excited for moves, period. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't do much at all. And then a bunch of people started saying, like Easton Freeze was saying things like, there's actually probably going to be a lot of signings, but just no big signings is what he thought. I would say that's probably been more true than anything else. But let's go ahead and break down the big name, the elephant in the room, the one we all know about. And that would be the Tennessee Titans signing Dan Moore, left tackle from Pittsburgh. That's where he played his first 4 seasons, to a 4-year, $82 million deal. 50 in guarantees. I'll let you have the floor since I've been jabbering quite a bit already. What was going through your mind when you seen all that?
Well, here's the thing. I think most people will agree that, he's not great, and he's more of an average tackle, because I don't think many people say he's just absolutely bad. He's better than NPF and Dailies, and I can't remember the other guy's name. There was
Dennis Daly. There was
what was
that? Then it was Andre Dillard,
yes,
/ Jalen Duncan, and then it was last year that instead of being left side being the problem, it was the right side with NPF or John Ajoku or whoever we wanted to throw in there.
Yeah, so he's not that bad, which is good. But a lot of people, including me at first, was like, "Oh man, we really did overpay for him." But sadly, that's just what you're going to pay to get a tackle. It really is, because really good tackles don't come free very often. Most teams will lock them down. So in free agents, usually you don't have much to choose from. And here's the thing, he's not bad. And to be honest, if we have, hopefully J.C. Latham will be fine in right tackle, which he played in college, so I think he will be. If he's good and the other tackle is just not bad, that is a better 2 tackles than we've had in a very long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So more I thought about it, more I'm like, okay, that's a lot of money, but that's kind of what tackles go for. And I'm okay with it. I think it's okay.
Not just that, but apparently it's a very front-loaded deal. So for a year or 2 into this, and Dan Moore's not looking so fantastic, we can cut him with it not really haunting us for years and years to come. I can remember it was like 2 years after Julio Jones was already gone, and he was still counting like $15 million against the cap. He had already been gone for several years. So this is not going to be one of those situations. If it doesn't work out, we got to move on from him sooner rather than later. And I agree with you. I kind of feel the same way with Dan Moore. At first, when I saw it, first of all, I'm subscribed or not subscribed. You have notifications turned on to Ian Rappaport on X. So that way, as soon as somebody gets signed, as soon as someone gets cut, traded, or whatever, I immediately get the notification, so I look at it, so I can keep up to date with everything. And I said, Titans are signing tackle Dan Moore to 4 years, $80 million. I'm like, that's a lot of money. This guy has to be amazing. How come I've not really ever heard of him? And then I Googled him and started seeing the instant reaction. Everyone's just like, that's a lot of money for a tackle. And so at first I was distraught. I was distraught over it for a couple of days.
With me
But
too.
then I agree with you. I kind of started warming up. They're blaming a decent chunk of his sacks on Russell Wilson. Also, that sounds like a scapegoat, so he's not completely off the hook for it. But the more I've started seeing people break down film, people talk about him, he's not terrible. Is he good? No. Is he terrible? No. Do you have to overpay in free agency? Yes. And that's kind of how I was feeling about it. I hated to see that he got paid more than Ronnie Stanley, which is Ronnie Stanley is who I wanted.
Yeah, that's one thing about Ronnie Stanley. I think he struggles staying healthy and more is available. So that's one thing that I think might go into that. But
yeah, I do agree there. But then, no, I don't want to say these words out loud. I'm going to say it anyway. But I can remember after the disgusting display that we had with Dennis Daly at tackle, I can't even remember who was the right tackle that year, but I said, it can't get worse than this. It cannot get worse than this. The next year, it was Andre Dillard. And we were like, oh my gosh, it cannot get worse than this year. So we patched that hole with J.C. Latham, and then the right tackle with NPF, John Ajoku, Jalen Duncan. Just plug any person there that is awful. A trash can, I think, would have been a better tackle. So when you put it that way, we have cap space. Dan Moore with J.C. Latham, that has to be better. That has to be better than the duo of tackles we've had the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Then that's basically what I said. I'm like, maybe Dan Moore is slightly overpaid, but this is still, I think we shall see what it looks like on the field. But I think this is the best tackle tandem we've had in a while. Maybe it won't be amazing. It won't be top 5, maybe not even top 10. But I think this is the best tackle tandem we've had in a while. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, it is an improvement on the team.
I agree. And not just that, so we're not really going to go in the order in which people were signed, but just staying on the offensive line. We brought back Corey Levin. He's good depth. I think this is like the 6th or 8th time that we've actually signed him. He's just kind of been around the Titans organization his whole career. But we re-signed him as nice depth. We brought in a tackle, and his name escapes me. I should have wrote it down, but he's like 30-year-old swing tackle / guard / just a depth guy, which is fine. But then which is sad this is the big signing, but the big signing we did was the 1-year, $9 million deal for Kevin Zeitler, one of the best guards in the NFL, but he's getting very old, very, very old. He's 35 years old. 1 year, $9 million. Did we fix it long term? No. But health, as long as there's health, we have an offensive line that I don't think will be a detriment to the offense.
Which is saying a lot because lately, the last couple of years, it has been. And I agree with you because, like you said, it's a 1-year deal. He's getting older. This is not going to be a long-term thing. It is just covered up for this year. And next offseason, we may have the same issue. But I would say going into the season, I'm actually pretty excited with this offensive line. I think it could be pretty good. I really do. Like if Lloyd Cushenberry comes back, because that injury happened, you don't know how fast he can get back to 100%. But if he comes back playing like he did, most of his career, I think this could be a really good offensive line. And if we draft Cam Ward or whatever we do, they're going to have, I think, a decent offensive line to protect them.
And what I said, I've said several times, at least in my mind, I've said it. Can we get a league average offensive line? I'm not even trying to go full Eagles or Lions at the moment. Can we just have an average offensive line?
Yeah.
Because the last 2 years we've been, maybe even 3 years, we've been bottom 5 offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
Sacks allowed, pressures allowed, and it's not like our run blocking is that much more impressive. In fact, Derrick Henry's last year with us was sad because he's just getting hit in the backfield every single play. So honestly, on the offensive line, I would love to bring Dan Brunskill back. He's been my guy last 2 years. I think he's been one of our best offensive linemen both years. He's still a free agent. Maybe we'll re-sign him, but I would say the chances are not as high simply because it's a new GM. And Rain Carthon brought him from the 49ers where he knew him. So that connection's gone. So we'll see how that goes. But I'd say bring him back, especially if Cushenberry's not ready to start beginning of the season.
Exactly. That's a good point.
All right, so there's the offensive line, but I would say overall offensive line improved
I
in
agree.
free agency, which feels odd to say that. Let's talk about the backfield real fast. Running back, nothing happened, which is fine. Nothing needs to happen, in my humble opinion. Agreed?
I wouldn't be totally upset if we got ourselves more of a big get it 2 yards kind of running back. I've heard that we was interested in that. That hasn't happened yet. We should see if that will happen. But I would be okay if we got one of those because Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard is not really that kind of running back at all.
No.
So I wouldn't be completely upset if we got one. But if we don't, I also wouldn't. It wouldn't be the end of the road, but it might be nice to have one.
Absolutely. I agree with that. But either go league minimum.
Yeah, exactly. Don't overpay.
Or use a 6th round pick. I don't think we have a 7th round pick anymore, and I'll explain why in a moment. But that's offensive line. That's running back. Now, quarterback. The only quarterback news was the fact that we signed. Oh, I can't even think of the guy's name.
Allen. What's his first name?
Brandon
Allen?
Allen? Yeah, Brandon Allen. I think that's who it was. Just how much we know about
There's
this guy.
a couple of Allens back there.
Like I've known of him. He's played for the Panthers. I think he played for the Bengals at some point, and that's why we think there was a Callahan connection. That's why we brought him in. This guy's a backup. He's a career backup. He'll never be anything more than that. So that, like, all signs point to it being Cam Ward, and we'll have another separate show at some other time that it's looking like it's Cam Ward, whether you like it, hate it, indifferent, whatever. It's looking like it's going to be Cam Ward time in Tennessee. So
I will say, if you go into the season and we don't draft a quarterback, and you go into the season and Will Levis and Allen is your quarterbacks, that is 100% saying you are punting the season.
Not just that, but we are punting Brian Callahan's head coaching career.
Yes, well, that's true. So, like you said, to me, it just points all fingers point towards Cam Ward. I don't know what the other plan would be.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially since Aaron Rodgers is basically between Giants, Steelers, or retirement, I believe. They're saying Kirk Cousins is not going to be let go. The only one we have to worry about is Russell Wilson, because I'll be honest with you, I would rather just be the worst team in the league with Will Levis.
Yes, me too.
Than actually go with Russell Wilson. I am so out on Russell Wilson. So yeah, because of that, I am now officially, and again, we'll have another show about this, but I'm officially Cam Ward because I was really fence riding for the longest time because the trading down, getting more picks, getting Abdul Carter, the best pass rusher we'll probably have had since Javon Curse. I was pretty pumped up about that idea, but at this point, it just looks like it has to be. It just has to be Cam Ward because I don't want to do Will Levis again.
I agree.
All right, so that's the backfield. That's the offensive line. Tight ends, nothing happened with tight ends. That's fine. Wide receivers. Now, this one's the sad one. Very, very sad because Tyler Boyd has not signed anywhere, but I could see this being him kind of forced in retirement because Father Time's kind of really caught up with him. But he's gone. The big one, fan favorite NWI.
I've always liked him too.
Yeah, not only is he gone, but for cheap.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
$3.5 million a year, and apparently Titans offered a similar contract, and he just was done with the Titans and chose the Dolphins over us.
Probably tired of losing, but yeah,
probably.
Yeah, that one sucked. It is what it is, but that one sucked, and that's the reason I want to bring him back. Not just because I think he does a lot of little things well, but we need bodies. We don't have enough receivers on this team.
You don't trust Traylon Burks?
No, not at all.
What about
I don't trust him staying healthy.
What about Colton Dowell?
No.
Are you not a Jaquan Jackson believer?
No.
Well, guess what?
I kind of forgot about him.
Yeah,
What?
we got the deal for you, though, because Tennessee Titans got real aggressive in wide receiver free agency here this year, and we brought in Van Jefferson. That's exciting, right?
Yeah. That's just another. I don't think he's going to be a huge part of this team. It's just a body, I think. But he did have that one 800-yard season.
He did have that one 800-yard season, but I think it was his second season in the NFL. But Steven commented. Now, I want you to correct me in the chat, Steven, because I don't know how to pronounce your last name. I'm going to try to say it and you tell me if this is right. Steven Crocio. Crocio. That's what I'm going to guess. All right. He says, with NWI and Chidobe Awuzie gone, Travis Hunter talk is on. And that is fair because cornerback, for no reason at all, in my opinion, got thin. and wide receiver is just disgustingly thin. Crocio. Is that Crocio? Is that how that's? Crocio. Okay.
I
Stephen
will say,
Crocio.
um, I will say, the thing about Travis Hunter, if we get him, we are still very much like our quarterback situation is like really bad. So that's why I
Yeah.
don't see us getting Hunter. I do not think Will Levis is going to start again for us, and I don't think we're going to start with Allen. I could be
Yeah.
wrong, but there.
Yeah, and
That's what
I
think.
saw not a verified report, but I saw a report saying that trade talks have almost all but stopped for the number 1 pick between the Giants and Titans. So I think the Titans are really honing in on Mr. Cameron Ward. But yeah, for wide receivers, yeah, it's bleak now. Nothing's looking good there. We have to draft it in 35 overall. Have to.
The free agency list is not that impressive. I agree with you. I think we have to draft, and hopefully in the second round, because when I say draft, I don't mean another Dalton. What's his name?
Colton Dowell.
Yeah, not one of those in the 7th round. I mean, like we need to draft in the 2nd round of wide receiver.
I mean, I agree because it ran Carthon era only lasted 2 years, but the wide receivers he drafted was Colton Dowell in the 7th round and Jaquan Jackson in the 6th. Yeah, it was the 6th round. So yeah, it's been so long since we've actually drafted a wide receiver even remotely high. I guess Traylon Burks was 2022, but we're not going to talk about Traylon Burks. All right, so wide receiver is a huge hole. That's something I'm not very satisfied with. At the same time, free agency didn't look great, like the crop. Yeah. And I mean, there's still some big names out there, but people like I'm drawing a blank on his name. The guy who played for the Bills and then the Texans. I can't think of his name.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs. Sheesh. Brain fart. Yeah, Stephon Diggs is still available, but he's old.
And a nutcase.
Amari Cooper's still out there. He's old.
Well, basically, if you're still left, there's a reason for that. Like you're most likely old or just not that good.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. So wide receivers definitely high on the priority list of things we need to do. That's basically all that happened on offense, unless something's happened that I forgot about. So let's slide over to the defense. Where we really got busy was the linebackers, because the best move possibly of all of free agency was trading Kenneth Murray, who was really bad for us, trading him because I was hoping we'd cut him, and I was really disappointed when we hadn't cut him. Well, we traded him and a 7th round pick to get a 6th round pick. Not just that, but apparently it's like 50 picks better than that 7th round pick. So it's actually jumping way up the draft board. So good work there, Mr. Borgonzi. And that's why we don't have any 7th round picks. So we had 2, but I think we traded 1. No, do we have a 7th round pick? Because we got a 7th round pick for trading Malik Willis. And then I think we just traded it away with Kenneth Murray. I don't know, but I think actually right now we have 2 6ths, 2 5ths, and 2 4ths. Those are all nice.
I wish we could have a 3rd. Get some of those to go to Thor,
yeah, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, so the busy linebacker market, we let Dr. Gibby, as they call him, Dr. Gibby, we let him go. We let Luke Gifford go. I was kind of okay with that. Luke Gifford was just an older, good special teams ace, but we could find another one somewhere. So I was kind of okay with that one. And I was definitely okay with Dr. Gibbons. And the reason because the big signing that we made was Cody Barton, which to me is just Jack Gibbons, but a bit better, a bit more established. He's gotten over 100 tackles, I think, the last 3 seasons in a row. It's a 3-year, literally the exact same deal we gave to Nico Autry. It's 3 years, $21 million. I think that's fine. That's not an overpay for I think he's like league average linebacker play, and just Kenneth Murray was giving us anything but league average.
Yeah. So what I would like, what's the guy's name? Cedric Gray? Is that who we drafted last year? I want to see something out of him. We didn't see much of him at all, like not even on the field. I am curious to see what he's going to look like, but we need somebody to step up and be a good linebacker for us. We haven't had good linebacker play in quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, James Williams was a 7th round pick, so if he never turns out to be anything, he's just a project. So that's fine. But Cedric Gray was a 4th round pick, and not just that, but towards the top, so he's borderline a 3rd round pick. So Cedric Gray, I hope that's who we let step in, at least give him a shot, because spoiler alert, the Titans are not going to be good in 2025. So if that's the case, I say give Cedric Gray a shot.
Yeah.
That's what I say. And that's probably what's going to happen. As of now, it's looking like it's going to be Cedric Gray or James Williams stepping in there. But I would take that tandem over the disgusting tandem we had last year. But it started off nice when we traded for Ernest Jones.
Yeah, Ernest Jones, I liked him.
He was good, but we traded his Heine away. But even though that was a masterclass by Rand Carthon, where I think we switched a 6th and a 7th round pick or something like that, or we switched picks to get him with the Rams. And then when we trade him away, we got a 4th round pick back. So that was actually masterclass by Rand. So we appreciate that. But anyways, so that's the linebacker position. So I think that got better, right?
Yeah, just because Murray was so bad. So yeah.
Kenneth Murray was really bad. All right, next, safeties. This one I was kind of about. Obviously, we still got Hooker. So we brought in Mike. What was that?
What is it? Xavier?
No, it's the guy we brought back from last year, and his name was super plain. There's probably like 30,000 of these in America. It's like Mike Johnson or something like that. That's the Speaker of the House. Mike something. I cannot think of that guy's name. But anyways, we brought him back. He was just our depth guy. He was the guy who stepped in when Quandre Diggs went down. But we brought him in, and then we have the big signing, which was Xavier Woods.
That's what it was.
Xavier Woods. He's a lot like, in my opinion, Cody Barton. I think he's kind of like a league average at that position. But we got him for 2 years, $10 million, only $5 million a year. That's a cheap
I would say
deal.
I don't think he's like awful, so it is what it is. I would rather, now maybe he just didn't want to come back. I don't know. But I like Diggs, what he looked like before he got hurt, and I would like to bring him back. Just because I know Hendon Hook was good, but I like to get a nice tandem back there. And I don't know the guy we got. I just don't know how impressive he is. But
yeah, the problem with Quandre Diggs is he's 32.
I get it, but did you think he played bad last year?
I don't think he played. No, I think he played really well. But
yeah, exactly.
When you get old, you start getting hurt, and guess what happened to him last year?
I mean, that's possible too.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. I can't find this guy's name that we signed, that safety. Like I said, some super plain. I always forget what it is. He needs a nickname. Hopefully he has a nickname. But yeah, so that was fine. I think the only reason I was mad about it is just the thought of us being interested in Javon Holland. I was like, ooh.
Yeah,
imagine him with Hooker back there. I was pumped up about that one. Go ahead.
I'll say what I'm about to say when we get to the next position.
Okay. Corners, is that what you assume I'm going? Yeah, corner. This is the one that confuses me. I was okay. Actually, at first I was loving what we did because I've been saying it for almost a year now. Titans are good at corner. I've never remember ever saying that before. Titans are good. High-end talent at the top. Fantastic depth. Things were looking good because we brought back Mr. Daryl Baker. I never know if it's Darrell Baker or Daryl Baker, but I'll say Daryl. But Daryl Baker, we brought him back. I thought it was fantastic. Our cornerback room looked amazing. And then, I think it was yesterday, the news broke. We cut Chidobe Awuzie to basically save $2 million. So basically, we were just done with him.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Yes, Awuzie gets hurt easy, a lot. I mean, but like you said, if we did that and we saved $10 million or something like that, I get it. I'm okay with that. It didn't save that much. I want to kind of pause my judgment. Maybe that $2 million and the cap space we have left, put that together. Maybe we're about to bring in somebody that, like, okay, I'm okay with that, and there's something going on behind the scenes that we don't know. But I don't think so. Like you said, it's just $2 million that saved us. But
yeah. We'll see. I guess that 3-year, $36 million deal was just a bust.
Yeah, but now that is going to force Brownlee Jr. Hopefully, he's ready for number 2 spot.
That's kind of what I'm saying. I say either we're going to sign us another cornerback, or Jarvis Brownlee Jr. did enough to prove that they think he should be CB2.
And I think our cornerback room is still good, but I don't know if it's as good as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, because here's one thing that happened. I don't know if many people even remember this. They didn't really talk about it much, but I can remember someone saying something about to Brian Callahan about Chidobe Awuzie not getting a lot of playing time in one of the games at the end of the year, and he's like, he just wasn't really playing up to his level. I mean, he knows he wasn't playing as good as he can play. So I just took him out, let him, and just start talking about what they did with Chidobe Awuzie and getting pulled from a game. So apparently he got benched. So I remember as soon as I heard, I'm like, hopefully he was just having some conditioning issues or something since he had been injured for 10 weeks. But apparently Father Time caught up with him. I don't know. But Cheeto is out, and as of now, Jarvis Brownlee Jr. is now in. I will say, though, with L'Jarius Sneed and Jarvis Brownlee Jr., if those are our starting 2 outside corners, some feisty fellas right there. A lot of picks, a lot of big plays.
Yeah, I still think that's a decent tandem, but I will say, with
Depth
us
cut thin.
yeah, exactly. We'll lose some depth though, so we'll see. Just from being out looking in, I don't think I would make that cut. And that's something I'm not thinking of. I don't think personally, if nothing else, you need bodies. Corners go down pretty fast, and so I would have kept them. And again, unless there's something going on that I don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, if we were in cap heck, I understand. Cutting somebody like that who maybe did not quite play up to par, but he did get a pick on those couple games he had back. But so I understand if we're in cap heck, cutting somebody like him, but we weren't. We still aren't. But oh well. Who knows? We might have another signing at cornerback in the coming week or two. What other position we gotta go? Defensive line. That's a big one. We never talked about this. I did a short about it, but I didn't talk about it. Harold Landry. I don't know if we should have cut him. Like, so many people are saying, brother. Easton Freeze especially loves banging the table. Like, brother, if you watch the film, you would realize he was not good. He was our second best edge rusher last year behind Arden Key. If you look at the film, he had 9 sacks, but his pressures, his rush win rate, I think that's what it's called, something like that, it's not good. And that's basically what they say. And maybe they're right. But I just feel like for the last 4 years, he's the only person on our team who gets sacks. You know what I'm trying to say?
Here's what I say. Okay, you might be right. He wasn't what he was, but we need to replace him with somebody. Because right now we're very thin in that. And that's something that scales me a little bit. I think a cornerback is decent, but we have no pass rush now at all. At all. So I'm a little nervous about that. I think the quarterbacks that we're going to be going against is going to have all day to throw. Unless somebody steps up that I don't expect, that could be a major issue for us.
Yeah, which is why I think our corners didn't always look as good as they actually were, is because quarterbacks had all day to stand there and throw. So yeah, I'm like, I mean, was he Father Time caught up with him? He's not that old. And I think the reason, because every single year, do you remember this was like a 3-year period where our head coach, as usually Vrabel, would say, yeah, he's playing way too many snaps. We got to get guys in there to take some snaps off of him. And we really honestly never did. So sometimes I wonder if that aged him sooner than he should have.
Maybe.
But the problem is, with us cutting him, we have 2 huge holes now. Yeah. And I would have been, again, back with what I said with Chidobe Awuzie, I would have understood us cutting him and saving a decent chunk of money if we were just, our cap situation was out of control, but it wasn't,
Yeah.
So I don't know. So now that we cut him, now we need 2 edge rushers. We kind of addressed somewhat of it. Mr. Draymount Jones, 1-year, $10 million deal. This guy, he seems to me, he's like a solid player. He's got outside and inside the defensive line versatility. But the problem is, I heard most people say he's usually a little better inside than he is outside, but then we have no edge rushers outside.
Yeah.
So it's possible you end up forcing him to do some outside edge play. But he's a solid football player. He's good. I think he could be the Danico Autry. That makes sense.
Well, I'll be okay with that, because Danico Autry, I thought, was very underrated.
Yeah. He's not as tall as Danico Autry, because Danico Autry is 6'6". He's only 6'3", but the guy's 280. So he's a big dude. So I think that was a good signing as well.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see, because I don't know much about him, but most people I listened to was okay with it. So
yeah, I agree.
I'll take it.
All right, and then the last little position group we'll kind of get into before we call it a day on here is special teams, which is weird. We said bring everybody back. That's what we wanted. We brought back Morgan Cox, Pro Bowl long snapper, thumbs up. Kicker, completely unaddressed. We haven't done anything yet. So we have no kicker on our roster. And then punter. We let
That
Ryan
was odd. I
Stonehouse
didn't see that
go.
one.
I don't think anybody saw that coming, including Ryan Stonehouse. And then now we did sign a nice nice punter, Johnny Hecker. I think is what his name is, Johnny Hecker.
Yeah, I did see a
Good
lot of
punter.
people like him.
The problem is he's 35 years old. Like Stonehouse was like 25, 24. So we could have had Stonehouse for another 10 years, but instead we go with somebody who's 10 years older than him who's not going to be a future. Like he's not part of the Titans' future. So
that was an interesting move.
That was odd. It's almost like Mike Borgonzi is just like, I want to erase everything of Vrabel. I want to erase everything that we can of Rand Carthon. Steven, whose last name is Crocio, says, why do I have a feeling the kicker situation will be solved during or after the NFL draft? I could see that. And didn't that happen last year? Am I making that up? Like, didn't we not sign Nick Folk immediately? And we just kind of were up in the air for a while. Actually, we've been kind of kicking this can down the road for a while now because we had those like 2 or 3 seasons where we were just awful at kicker after we cut Ryan Suckup. And then we had things where we were like bringing in Randy Bullock, remember him?
Yeah,
and then
now you mention that, yes, Suckup was the last kicker that we had for like a long time period. That we've been kind of just going through kickers pretty fast.
Yeah, now it looks like we're going to be going through punters too. But I agree with you, Steven. I have a feeling that we're just for no reason at all not going to know who our kicker is for probably months, if I had to guess.
I like Nick Folk fine. I mean, yeah, he's old, but I had no problem with him.
Actually, I would have been 100% banging the table to bring him back, but he did get hurt and miss a couple games last year at the end of the season. The old feller, bless his heart. We understand we're in our 30s as well, right? Of course, he's 40 now, isn't he? I think he turned 40 last year. Old? He's old, very old. But you just got to kick a ball. That's all you got to do. And touchbacks aren't really necessarily a thing anymore because you're not trying to do a touchback because there's the kicking zone, which sounds so weird when they're talking about it. But I don't think that really changed the NFL the way they're hoping it did.
Yeah, I don't know if I was a fan of that, to be honest. But
okay. So the people who are watching live and to the people who watch after the video's done, let us know your favorite and your least favorite signing or cut or just whatever happened in free agency. Like, what's been your highlight? Let's go ahead and answer for ourselves, shall we? Your favorite free agency addition. Like I would say, or I guess I could say subtraction. So I kind of want to be spiteful and say Kenneth Murray being traded. I mean, that was a little magic we worked there, but that sounds a little goofy. So I can't believe I'm going to say this because in a couple of videos ago, I said I wasn't really in on this guy, but Kevin Zeitler, having somebody that just somebody.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, just having somebody who's super solid right there that you don't have to worry about. Because a lot of people were way higher on Radens than I was. I thought Radens was very sour. Like, he wasn't horrible, but is like maybe the 25th, 20th at best case scenario, right guard last year. And when you have a bunch of people like that, that's the bad offensive line. That's how it happens. So yeah, I'm glad we got a nice upgrade. Even if it's just a 1-year Band-Aid, we got a nice fix at the position.
That is the only thing that I don't like is I'm like, I agree. I think he's going to be good, and that's probably my favorite pickup. The only problem is next year he may not be on this team.
Yeah, next year we need a right guard.
Yep.
Which I've heard a lot of people.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I heard a lot of people saying that they love what the Commanders did last year, which was get a rookie quarterback and sign a bunch of 1-year deals. And it worked for them, obviously, from one of the worst teams in the NFL picking second to the Final Four. So that's fantastic. But then another part of me says, if that's all we do, the next year all these holes are going to be empty again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So next year we're going to need a right guard. Next year, Draymond Jones, he's gone as well. Now I guess the other ones, Xavier Woods was a 2-year deal. Cody Barton was 3-year deal.
The idea behind the strategy is you kind of re-sign the people you like. You give a bunch of people 1-year deals and like, well, you're not that good. We'll let you go. You know what? You did okay, so I'll give you a 2-3-year deal. And you kind of do that, but we'll see if we do that now.
Steven says, favorite signing, Kevin Zeitler. He's on our bandwagon there. Favorite release, Ryan Stonehouse.
Okay.
Interesting. I would love to understand why. Now, I did see, if you look at all of his numbers, his kicking average was worse. And I know Brian Callahan. I don't think Brian Callahan was a Stonehouse guy, because Brian Callahan several times
We threw him under
accused,
the bus.
threw him under the bus, saying he was out kicking his coverage.
Yes. So,
But you know what? Technically, if that's a thing, that makes sense. And he was not as good last year as he was the years previous. So I get it. And if we didn't bring in a very much established veteran like Johnny Hecker, I would probably be a little more. So I think this was a John Fossil, the new special teams coordinator, because they worked together before.
Which I am excited about.
Yeah, which I'm excited about. That was kind of his request thing, but I think Brian Callahan was perfectly okay with letting Stonehouse go, because yes, I think it's not just once, it's like 2 or 3 times he said we're out kicking our coverage. So yeah, I mean, I was more stunned or confused about the Stonehouse, not hurt by the Stonehouse cut.
And I don't know the situation, but I'm just kind of thinking to myself, like, can you not just coach that out of him? Is this a thing they're trying to coach out of him? He's like, no, I'm going to kick it as hard as I can. Like, you think
or it might just be a lack of leg talent. We're talking about arm talent. Might have just been a lack of leg talent. He can kick the heck out of it, but he's just not great at placement. That's the only thing I can think of. All right, let's talk about your least favorite move.
For me, and I know some people like Freeze, I think you said. What's his name?
Easton Freeze.
Thank you. Said, but I think it's the Harold Landry. Maybe there's more to it. You know, he thinks that Harold Landry isn't as good as a lot of people says. But like at the end of the day, every year he had the most sacks. So that's what on our team. So that's why someone's got to take those 9 sacks up. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with the Harold Landry situation. Has his production dipped? Yes. Has his production just in general with tackles for loss, pressures, all of it's dipped for sure. But we kind of just, when we didn't have to, we kind of just cut him and have no other plan.
Yes, if you have a plan B, I'll be more on board for it and be okay with it. But you just cut the guy who led our teams with sacks. You got to find someone to replace that.
I mean, if you take out the year that he was gone with the torn ACL, I think he's led our team in sacks the last 3 seasons.
Yeah,
3 seasons that he played, let's put it that way. So yeah, I agree. If we had gone and gotten an edge rusher, and who knows, we might still do it, because there's still some folk out there. I think Za'Darius Smith, I think, is still out there. Who's the guy? Matt Judon. I think he was solid for the Falcons last year. He's still out there. So if we end up replacing him with somebody like that, I'll be more okay with it. But for now, we have Arden Key and Jalen Harrell as our starting edge rushers.
That's not good.
Don't love that. Because again, Dramount Jones, he might, I don't know if it's Dramount or Draymount. I don't know. Dramount Jones is what I'm saying for now. He really is more interior than edge. Now, if he plays edge, okay, fine. But at the same time, then I almost feel like he should take Arden Key's role, and Arden Key can like spot him.
Yeah.
Like those two both don't need to be full-time stars, I don't think. I mean, maybe they will be. I don't know. But anyways, you say Harold Landry. My least favorite, and I would gladly eat these words later down the road. But for now, Dan Moore, I just feel like we paid so much for him. It's possible we end up drafting Cam Ward. He shows promise. Next year, we're trying to make the next step and be a playoff contender, but we can't because we're having limited cap space, because somebody like Dan Moore is going to be making $20 million a year next year.
That's possible.
Yeah, because usually that first year of the deal, the cap hits low typically, because you get extra in the signing bonus. So I don't know. I've not really hated any of the moves the Titans have made, but I just feel like it's a lot of vanilla. You know what I'm trying to say? We won 3 games last year.
Agree with this? Because this is what I think. Yeah, especially the very first day, I had a lot of, what are we doing? But then the more I thought about it, I'm like, okay, none of this is bad, but none of this is franchise changing in the sense that we're going to go from 3 wins to 10 wins. You know, nothing says that to me.
No.
I could be wrong, but that's just my humble opinion.
I mean, right now we look like we're probably about a 4 to 6 win team. I mean, obviously a lot could change, because as of now, Will Levis is QB1. So obviously a lot will change after the draft, and we'll revisit all of this. And there could always be trades or just random people become unhappy with their situation and get cut or whatever. So we'll see what happens. I guess that's really all I have to say about any of that. Again, to the people watching live and to the people who are going to watch after we end the live. Let us know what your favorite, your least favorite, signing, cutting, trading, whatever. Would love to hear. I personally put a little heart and comment on every single comment we get on our videos because I have nothing better to do with my life besides work. So that being said, what an exciting free agency that was. Last year was super exciting, and we were the worst team in football. This year was kind of boring and laid back. So maybe we'll actually rattle off 8 or 9 wins. Doubtful, but we'll see. We're probably about to turn our attention towards the draft for the next couple videos for the next month or so. And yeah, I guess we're going to get out of here. Make sure you're liking. Make sure you're subscribing. We've been making videos for a couple years now, usually once a week, and throw out a couple shorts during the week just to keep you hungry for some more. So thanks for joining us. Got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Just our 2 biggest needs, and we got to fix it either through draft or free agency. And I think you agree. Wide receiver, edge. Those 2 are the biggest needs.
I agree. So let's keep our eyes open, our ears peeled, tighten up, peace out, all that jazz.